Welcome to Perusing's Appraisers on Purpose podcast. Our podcast showcases inspiring appraisers and professionals from the industry who are leaders in their field. How did they get to where they are? What have they learned along the way? What can we learn from them? Your host is real estate investor, entrepreneur, and appraiser, Michael Hobbs.
Oh, well, welcome. Thank you for joining us for another informative, exciting, and engaging session, another episode, if you will, of Perusing's Appraisers on Purpose podcast, where we get the opportunity to peer into the life and the profession of those around us that we may just not know or may not know much about. Today is definitely one of those interesting and informative conversations. I'm so excited for Bwembya to be with us. Bwembya, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, thank you, Michael. Thanks for having me. I'm not so sure about when you say interesting and exciting, and my career is not so unique.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Well, we'll wait till it get to the end, and we'll let all of our friends judge that. I mean, I have my own opinion, but I know I'm biased. But here's the beautiful thing. They can show their love right now by making sure that they subscribe, because what we've found is of all the people that listen, only 43% of late actually have subscribed. So do what only you can do. Click that subscribe button and hit the like button, because it says out to the internets of the world, all the different communication means and podcasts and rankings and what have you, that this is a great listen and it helps connect to peers. And thank you for the sharing that you've done. I got to hear from a couple other people this week that were just expressing their appreciation. Someone was like, oh my gosh, I was listening, back to, Jeff back in like season 3. I'm like, I didn't know he was that old. I'm like, well, hadn't been in the profession that long. And I'm like, well, and did you learn anything else? He's like, oh, it's so fascinating to see all the different roles that he had that really got him to where he's at today. I said, well, cool. I'm glad you got some insight and got some chuckles along the way. We always love the stories of our peers. So, Bwembya, hey, everybody wants to know, were you born this way, or how did you get into the appraisal and valuation profession?
Well, that's I'll take the longer route. How much time do we have?
Oh, 3 days. We have 3 full days.
So I'll try to stay on task.
Take your time. We got time. You go ahead. We got an hour.
So my career has evolved over time, and I want to say centered more on a bit of uncertainty, a bit of unpredictability, but evolving as we go. So, and I'll say many moons away, and I'll use those terms because my ancestors, they had no concept of time. So they measured everything in moons. So many moons away, went to college and studied land economics or real estate economics. So that's what I started with. So that's way in Zambia, Southern Africa.
Yes.
So I did that. So upon graduation, I joined the state. So in Zambia, back then, we had a centralized system of state appraisers helping out with the local jurisdictions that didn't have the capacity. A few municipalities or local jurisdictions had the capacity, so they had their own appraisers. But
oh, really?
Yeah, for the ones that didn't.
May I ask a quick framing question? Because a lot of Americans have passports, but most of them haven't traveled beyond like Mexico or Canada. So as someone who has traveled to Africa a couple times, although I haven't been to the country where you're from, what are the realm of appraisals, as we're referring to them?
Uh-huh.
What is it like? Is it similar to the United States where we have USPAP, or does it sit inside of IVS, or is there its own body of knowledge and regulatory structure? Just so we get a sense when you're talking about this.
Yeah. So having worked studied on 4 continents and worked on 3 continents, we read the same stuff. It says it's the same 3 methods of predominantly methods of appraisal: income, cost, and market. So that's what we do. But for us, we are more steeped in the UK system or the Anglo system. Yeah. So things like the governing bodies, we have our own appraisal bodies. But then we are more inclined to the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, of which I'm a member of. So it's the same appraisal principles. Where we start differing, it's the application, because the application has to be tailored according to, like you rightly referred to, USPAP. Jurisdictional exceptions, the local tax laws or the local laws. That's where it starts getting different. But by and large, the training, we all read the same books. We all have the same backgrounds.
That's amazing. So how did you even get to the profession there in Zambia?
Zambia,
yes.
So we had... So when I went to college, I didn't even know that there was something like studying appraisals or land economy or real estate economics.
You're so like the rest of us. We had no idea that stuff existed.
So I wanted to be an architect, so applied to this school, which, So we had this body of quantity surveyors or cost engineers, architects. Then we have real estate economics. Then we have urban planners too. So we get to college, didn't know anything about appraisal. Then they say, "Oh, you're not so good at drawing after all."
Oh my gosh, I love that. I can only imagine the accent. I mean, for them it's no accent, but how they say that, like, "Oh, you're no good."
but I think we think because of your aptitude in math and all these calculations, you can be an appraiser.
Oh wow! Okay. So they didn't kick you out of school. They just changed your focus.
Yeah, they changed my focus.
All right. I get that.
So that's how I got into that realm. So the thing is, we don't remember. I told you it is real estate economics. So So appraisal is just one part of that. Of the program. So we do appraisal classes and we do real estate urban economics classes. The whole thing.
Okay.
So when we got into after graduation, like I said, I got employed by the state to go and become an appraiser for the state.
Oh, okay, okay.
So for that assignment, because we were more or less, and that was the formative years were very important or crucial, because when I look back now, I'm like, I've done it all. I think. Because started off, so for the state, we dealt with residential, commercial, industrial, special properties that, like mines, mine composition or stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So agriculture appraisal. So we got to do all sorts of assignments. For property taxation, which we call rating on the other side of the world. They call it rating appraisal, but here we call it property taxation.
Okay.
Or things like property transfer tax, real estate tax. So all those are what I did for the state.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So did that for a number of years. In between, I was always reading stuff and upskilling.
Yes.
In between. So at some stage, I found myself in grad school in Europe. So did a program in real estate management, again with some appraisal involved as well. So I've always had that appraisal. I've done other things, but there's always been the appraisal in it. So came back after grad school, worked for some time. Then again, this is where life and unpredictability and adapting comes in.
Yes, sir.
So something happened. Something happened in my life where we had to pivot. So we had to pivot, and pivoting we found ourselves in Australia.
Wow.
So
was that during the time? A good friend of mine is also didn't grow up too far away from where you did. Did you have to depart because of the climate in the country at the time?
No, it's nothing to do with political or civic upheaval. No. It was just a family circumstance we needed to find ourselves to get some services in a much more, if I may call it that, a much more advanced society.
Great.
So we found ourselves in Australia, and I started doing my terminal degree. So
yes.
So that terminal degree, I got into the finance world.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Wow. And so you literally relocated more than halfway around the world.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
What an experience.
Yeah. So again, that's where, life throws you curveballs, and how do you adjust to that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So found ourselves in Australia, and I was doing a terminal degree in finance, real estate finance and investment. So started that. As I was studying, I was an instructor, teaching assistant in college and all that. In the end, found myself teaching at the university.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you became a university instructor or professor?
I became a professor.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So I became a professor at a university teaching real estate investment, finance, all those courses.
Okay.
So taught that for a number of years. Then again, another curveball. another curveball that precipitated, if I may use that word, us relocating from Australia to the US.
Holy cow.
Yes. So I get into the US. I got all these flags about I've done this, I've done that, and I just couldn't land the position that I thought I would land.
Yes.
So what do I do? I go back to basics.
Okay.
Back to the drawing board. So back to the drawing board. I joined this. Remember, I worked for the state in Zambia. So I said,
yes, sir.
I've done it before. So I joined the state of Texas as a staff appraiser. So this is where now the two worlds sort of merged.
Fascinating.
So initially in Zambia, I was doing all these real estate appraisals, right, for all asset classes.
Mm-hmm.
So in Australia, I was more doing on the finance side and all that. So,
oh, really?
Yes, finance, investment, analysis, and all that. Real estate, of course, REITs and all that. So I got a position. I said, you know what? I'm not getting, the college teaching professorships I want, but I gotta pay the bills. So I joined the state of Texas, and this is where it becomes interesting. So I got introduced to the unitary appraisal world.
Oh, so say a little more about that. Most people don't know what unitary appraisal is.
So unitary appraisal is it's dealing with think about assets that cut network assets or network heavy assets, if I may say that.
Got it.
Network heavy
so
assets.
Network heavy assets. Got it.
That cut across several jurisdictions. It can be state, it can be county, can be city, And there are also several taxing jurisdictions in there of water districts, fire districts, school districts, all that.
Yes.
So you have a network, and I'll give an example of a railroad that cuts across, moves from one state and runs through several states, 10 states,
runs across the country. I mean, Chicago, where I'm now located, is a central. It's the most central intersection of all the railroads.
Chicago,
in this country, and literally you can go from one coast to another.
Yeah. So
it's a lot of tax.
So the question is, and this is where the U.S. becomes unique. In most other countries, by some reason or some historical reasons, most of these assets are not were owned by the state, or there is nothing instituted to tax them on the property side or the real asset side.
Wow, fascinating.
So the U.S. is kind of unique, and there is what we call the unitary appraisal world. So you're valuing network assets, things like electrics, pipelines, railroads, telecommunication companies or cable companies. So that's run across several jurisdictions. So that's what I was introduced to. So the unique part, and this is where I say the unique part, and being that adaptability, and because I've done so when you are dealing with unitary appraisal, this is where it becomes interesting, because for unitary appraisal, most pure business appraisers will say they don't understand it.
Okay.
And most real estate appraisers will also say we don't understand it. So it's like somewhat in between the two worlds. So you get to mesh the two worlds and come up with this concept called unitary appraisals. So one has to be steeped with, because I did a lot of finance investment, so I understand that. So business appraisals, I understand. Real estate appraisals, I understand. So I get to mesh up the two worlds. So that's how I got into that. So I got into appraising in Texas. I got into appraising railroads, electrics, pipelines, telephone companies, electric co-ops. So that's how I started with that. Yes. So
let's step back a bit, because you've already introduced so many interesting things that we've never heard about. In so many of our episodes, there's always a first, and you've got many of them already, which is fascinating and fun. I mean, you're our first guest who hails from Zambia. You are our first guest who has spent time and work in Australia. You're our first guest in unitary appraisal. I mean, all these amazing things. So we definitely appreciate that. But I'm curious, what was it like for you starting back for the state when you first got into the profession there? And then how has that changed, or has it not changed, as you've moved across continents?
80% of all businesses fail within 5 years, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. With so many roles and responsibilities that must be managed and have nothing to do with appraisal reports, is it any surprise that it's hard to keep up, much less having a sense of peace, stability, and profitability that comes from growing your business? Given all of this, you might already be thinking about exiting your business one day. Don't miss the limited opportunity to work with Michael, a real estate expert and professional coach. He has worked with more than 300 owners and entrepreneurs to find their highest and best use by solving problems that reach their most important goals. Compress decades of learning into days by working with Michael. Michael is famous in real estate and business coaching. With his help, you can accelerate your growth, increase your quality of life, and earn more money, all while ultimately doing less. Michael helps you not just grow your business, but also find new purpose in it and in your life. If you're ready to take control instead of being controlled, contact him on LinkedIn or email him at michaelh@paru.com.
Which state? Because I've done public service 25 years.
So let's go back. Like you first started for the state of Zambia. Yes. What was it like back then doing appraisal, and what type of actual work were you performing?
So back then, young, naive, fresh, all those. So it was a bit of an exciting time.
Yes.
Learning from seasoned campaigners who had done it over the years. So I was fortunate enough to have had very good mentors who introduced me to the ropes. And the fortunate part is, I think, with public service,
yes.
In most instances, there's a bit of latitude
yes.
to be given for people to learn the ropes and to learn the ropes and to avail them with the right tools in terms of training and all the materials. So it was a bit of an exciting time. So we'll do, for most of the year, we'll do appraisal roles for mass appraisal roles, mass appraisal.
Got it.
So we'll do that. And, so that was exciting. So we go into a jurisdiction, you're doing a mass appraisal. So as part of that mass appraisal, you're doing everything.
Wow.
From commercial, industrial, residential, everything. So that was that. Then in addition, like I said earlier on, we had other assignments, special appraisals that would come and we would do that.
And for those that don't have any understanding of how big your home is, what country or what state, maybe here domestically, might people get a sense of the geography that you were responsible for back when you first got in the industry?
So Zambia is a third the size of Texas, and
1/3 the size of Texas.
And if you know Texas is huge.
Texas is massive.
So that just gives you context of the size. But yes. We are slightly, I would say, underpopulated because we are only 20 million people. I mean, that's the population of New York metro region. So a lot of our countryside is underpopulated. So you get to travel vast distances or jurisdictions without encountering a lot of people.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah. So it's almost as though from that standpoint, half of California would equal your experience there, and just help people kind of get a sense of it. And how much travel did you have to do back when you first got started?
So there was a bit of traveling that we needed to do. Remember I told you I started out way young.
Yes, sir.
So I rose through the ranks all the way to chief appraiser.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
So I rose all the way through the ranks over the years. So I was in charge of the Northern Region office. 12 guys, a staff of 12, somewhere there, plus minus, staff of 12. So in terms of travel, when we're doing mass appraisal, remember I said that certain jurisdictions didn't have the staff, so we would have to go and do. So we would go into a jurisdiction and camp there for a month.
Wow.
So for a month, doing all the inspections and all the initial preliminary work that you do in mass appraisal. So there was a bit of traveling to be done.
Wow. Yeah. That is absolutely amazing. And then how big of geography were you involved with when you were in Australia?
So in Australia, remember I told you that was a bit of pivoting. So
yes.
So it was predominantly teaching at the university.
Oh, okay. You didn't have to, as they would say in sports, you hung up your cleats to go into the chalkboard.
More or less. So the trouble that I got to do was to present at conferences my research findings all over the world. I traveled all over the world, various conferences, various parts of the world. So,
yeah, that's
so
great.
that was, so it was teaching and research that was involved in.
Oh, definitely love that. That is phenomenal. And so then you get to work for one state to work in another country. Then you get to work in the state of Texas. And how is it similar and different from when you started out both as a freshie and rose all the way up to the chief appraiser?
Again, remember what I said, the appraisal principles are the same. It's just how you apply them. And the unitary world is slightly different, but as long as you've got one has the building blocks, it fits in. It's like a Lego, fits in. So there too, with the state of Texas, I was very fortunate. I had very good mentors, people who I think they appreciated my what I could do if they invested in me, and they took time to more or less initiate me into the unitary appraisal world.
I see.
So again, any seasoned campaigner will tell you that to get to grips, one has to go through two tax seasons. You have to run through tax seasons. Then after that, you're comfortable. So I had people who were very accommodating, and they showed me the ropes for the initial years. So after that, I was there 8 years and loved it.
That's amazing. Wow, what a phenomenal experience. And you got exposed to so many things. What type of learnings did you gain in that time because they invested in you to be part of the team?
So one of the things is that's, on the unitary side is, which is a bit of a gap in the training process. So on the state side, most of the training, like on the West, I'll speak more on the western side of the country.
Yes.
There is what we call the Western States Association of Tax Administrators.
Oh, I know nothing about this. Fascinating.
Yeah,
Tell me more.
Yeah, so the Western States Association of Tax Administrators, or WASATA we call it.
Okay.
So this group is several states coming together and say, this is how we are going to be doing unitary appraisals. So they agree, they've got a manual of how it's supposed to be done. So they run their own schools, if I may call it that. So you get certified. So there are several courses that you go through to get certified, to become a unitary appraiser. So that's what I did when I was on the state side. So I got certified as a unitary appraiser. Why I say that it's different from the private practice side, we don't have an exact certification.
Yes.
So most people come from the MLI background or SAA background. Yes. And some of them, it's by prior experience. They have worked for the state, or they've worked under somebody who's done unitary appraisals, and they pick it up. So we don't have that kind of certification with the MAI or the Appraisal Institute or the American Society of Appraisers. Even the IAAO doesn't have the kind of certification.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. So there are several exposures, and let me qualify with this though.
Yes.
There are several exposures to the unitary appraisal world. There is an annual conference called the Appraisal School, which
Mm-hmm.
runs at Wichita State, end of next month. So they run some classes for people who have never been exposed to the unitary world or the appraisal of network assets. So they
Oh,
run
interesting.
some classes, 3 days or something like that, and
Wow, fascinating.
people get ingrained with the principles
Yes.
in that. So that's the kind of training that we are lacking on the private side. On the state side, there's something that's going on. But for me, I came from the other world, on the public
Yes.
service. So I had this destination and I had practice. So the transition from public service to private wasn't that disruptive. So I just got all the hats that I was wearing and kept wearing them.
Love that. Oh, that is something else. So, what brought your time to an end with the state?
So there again, another cave ball. Life throws us several challenges, and
Yes.
how
Yes.
we adapt to uncertainty and
Yes.
predictability is what differentiates us, right? So something happened where I said, "Oh, you know what? I think it's time."
Oh, really?
I've done almost 25 years of public service, several
Mm.
continents. So let me move on to something different. So that's how I transitioned working for a telecommunications company.
Oh, fascinating. So you make that transition, and how is the work similar, and how is the work different?
Remember that it's more or less similar. It's the same coin. It's just different
Yes.
sides of the
Yes.
coin. So when I was on the other side as a state assessor or state appraiser, so
Yes.
you get to prepare an appraisal and say, this company, this is their value. You're going to pay your taxes based on this value, right? Then on the other side, when you get on the flip side, I became a company rep. So when I get to see that appraisal from the state,
Okay. Yes.
I need to know what they've done because I've done it before.
Okay, that makes sense.
So in a sense, I get to prepare a counter appraisal too. If at all there are glaring differences, so I get to do an appraisal, and this is where it becomes the property tax world becomes interesting because the two appraisals now you have to come up with some agreement of resolving them. So I get to understand what they are doing because I've done it before.
Yes.
So I prepare a counter appraisal as well, and we try to get to an amicable resolution.
Yes.
If we don't get to an amicable resolution, because remember the property tax world everything runs by the calendar.
Yes.
So and there are several procedures and steps that have to be followed, even when you're doing all this. So if we can't resolve, we end up into litigation. So that's just part.
Sounds familiar.
That's just part of the game.
Indeed, it is.
It is. It's part of the game.
And what would be reasons why you would come to an impasse in the valuation?
So it can be on several things.
Okay.
Say for instance, the assets being appraised, right?
Yes.
There's something wrong with the asset list, or some asset is being captured for appraisal when it's not supposed to be appraised for some reason. It could be it could be driven by the state legislation or whatever, some exemptions or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So one has to know what the tax base is. So there could be a problem with the tax base. When you get to the appraisal side, if we are talking about say for instance, I'll take the income approach, right? So whether you are dealing with a cash flow or net operating income, so your cash flow projections are different. So that becomes an issue. So then your capitalization rate or your discount rate, that can become an issue too. So with those, again, I know you know better, Michael. There are various components which go into all those, and any one of those can be a subject of debate or disagreement.
Yes.
Then when you come to, remember with network assets, the appraisal side is just one part of the, then you have to spread them out, right? Because we are going over several taxing jurisdictions. So what methodology are you using to spread out the values? And is that being done correctly or in the right manner? So that also becomes an area of debate.
That's fantastic in the different perspectives that show up. And because it's a network asset, if you're involved with one in particular, is it, I mean, I'm inferring that you could be involved in multiple states at the exact same time on that one network asset because it spans such a large geography.
Yes. So then again, remember, like, if I'm running through several states, right? Like this network asset runs through 10 states. So I'm going to have 10 different values.
Wow.
So but within that 10 different values, there is a zone of reasonableness, I call it. So there will be a range of values of which a band of values of which we say the value should fall within this band. If it falls way out, it's an outlier, then we have issues.
Phenomenal. And then how is the valuation of unitary assets different and similar from, say, I don't know, an Amazon warehouse building?
So with those, you're more dealing with situs, right? So it's there in one place. So it's a single unit. Whereas when you're dealing with network assets, and this is where I need to be very clear.
Yes, please.
So with network assets, you can have. Let me back up a bit.
Yes, please.
So the clearest way of thinking about it is start with an enterprise value or an enterprise valuation. Now we're going into the business appraisal world. Yeah. Okay. So start with an enterprise valuation, right? Then take out what is cash and all that is not supposed to be there. Yep. So then you get to your value. From your value, now you separate whether is it tangible or intangible assets. And and if it's a state, if it's tangible or intangible. Some states will tax intangibles, others don't tax intangibles. So you gotta know the state laws. What's taxable and what's not taxable. So you take out now from your value, you take out now to go to the subject valuation. What's your subject? Is it just physical assets? So if it's physical assets, there's everything in there, right? So if it's an electric wires and poles and telecom wires and poles, fiber, all that.
Oh yeah.
If they have office buildings, if they have real estate, it's part of the system. It comes into part of the system. So whatever assets they have that contribute to the running of that entity becomes part of the unit. And we
Yes.
have what in the unitary world, what we call contributory value. Say, for instance, there is the company HQ or headquarters, right?
Yes.
So what's the contributory value of that to the whole unit? Because you can't remove one piece out of that Lego. If you remove one piece, then the whole system won't work. So
Oh.
think about rail tracks. You go and remove a piece of the rail track, then you don't have a railroad,
Yeah.
right?
You don't have the railroad. Yeah. Suddenly, it's like the old. It's like the old Western and black and white movies where you'd like, watch them like blow up the track. I'm like, well, that thing's done.
Yeah. So that's how unitary appraisal gets to be different from, say, for instance, real estate when you're dealing with site-specific appraisals. So when I'm doing a unit, I'll capture everything that's contributing to the value of running that business. That's where now
Yes.
one has to understand the business appraisal enterprise valuation principles.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing, and something that most people just don't experience or deal with.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. So in these days, I mean, like you said, you've made the shift. You've been everything from a field appraiser to a chief appraiser to an instructor and teaching this work to being involved at the state level, and now you're representing. How do you spend most of your time?
So now, until the start of this year, I transitioned. Now I'm part of a consultancy, an advisory firm. It's called Complex Property Analytics.
Yes.
So we help out private companies deal with their network heavy companies.
Yes.
We help out with property taxation and rate regulation matters, investment analysis matters, and other things like that come with that, like abatements and incentives and all that. So that's what I'm doing at the moment.
That's so interesting. Is it accurate to consider that for you maybe would be more like an attorney where you've got multiple cases going on at the same time, as opposed to maybe someone who's more in the field and moves from one assignment to the next, or maybe has one or two open at a time, but not a whole, say, panoply of assignments?
Um, I'll be hesitant to compare myself to other things, but like in the advisory world, we one juggles, puts on a lot of hats at any one time to help out clients with their needs. So it just depends on what specifics or what the assignment is. Then we help out clients as such.
It's fascinating. Wow. So, I mean, given everything that you've seen and everything that you've learned and everything that you've experienced, what are you looking forward to or optimistic about over the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, I hope that remember I mentioned that on the private practice side,
Yes.
very few people know about the unitary world. So I hope that we can get appraisal bodies like the American Society of Appraisers, Appraisal Institute, even the IAA or I
Yes.
hope that those bodies can open up to this field in terms of
Yes.
accreditation, because the work has to be done. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to do it. And at the moment, on the private side, people go through it by, if I may say, chance. You
Yes.
meet somebody who has done it and you work under them, then you start wearing that hat. So my hope is that the next couple of years, there's a bit of formalization. I like the way the state has done. Remember, I talked about the WASATA, the Western States Association of Tax
Yes.
Appraisers.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that
Yes.
in the next couple of years, we have our American, the Appraisal Institute and the ASA and IWA opening up.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my hope.
Wonderful. Oh, that is great to hear. That is great to hear. Well, I just have to say, this is such, as a number of our guests have also contributed, this is such an informative and interesting space that you're in that, as soon as you mention it, I'm like, oh yeah, somebody must do that kind of work. Now we know who one of those somebodies is, my friend. And at the same time, I'd never thought about it until you and I connected, getting set up here. And so that is
Michael, you remind me of my kids. They ask me to say, "What do you do? What do you do exactly?"
Oh. Oh my gosh, I love that. That doesn't sound too unfamiliar from the conversations I have with all of them, all the younger folk, so to speak. But no, thank you for your generosity, and thanks for sharing about this unique space in the industry that isn't always so obvious.
No, the pleasure is mine, Michael. I've really enjoyed this session, and
thank you, sir.
Like I said, I hope more people get on board.
Yes. Oh, I hope so as well. If they want to get on board, as you have mentioned, is there an action or a place they should go to follow up on that?
So one of the things, remember I said that there is a unitary appraisal school, a big conference that happens
Yes.
end of next month. It's at Wichita State University in Kansas. So that would be a good start for people, those that want to know more about unitary appraisal. And of course, they can reach out to me, and we can chat. Yeah.
Of course. Definitely appreciate that. Wonderful. Well, thank you again for coming on and sharing with us. This has been helpful. This has been informative. It's been insightful. It's definitely been educational. Everything we hope as we look to just, share how much we know so that we can all get better together. And you have definitely helped move, as they would say, move the ball down the pitch.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Friends, thanks for joining us. Feel free to reach out directly. Of course, thank you for subscribing, and thank you, of course, for liking this very special podcast episode. And until then, continue to share the good word of Parusings. And until next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Parusings, Appraisers on Purpose. We hope you enjoyed learning from the amazing professional paths and achievements of our beloved guests. Before we go, please subscribe on your listening channel, Spotify, LinkedIn, YouTube, and other podcast channels to hear more from appraisers and valuers regarding their life and their work. After you drop a comment below, who is one friend and peer you can generously share this episode with? If you have any suggestions or questions for future episodes, we'd love to hear from you. Just send us a message on LinkedIn and we'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks again for listening, and until we're together again for the next session of Parusings, Appraisers on Purpose, create the change that you seek.